Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, you're welcome to Sew with Mediva. And if you're a returning subscriber or a returning viewer, thank you for sticking to my channel. So in today's video, I'll be showing you guys how to cut and sew this simple cold shoulder bubu, and I achieved this style using 2 yards of African print fabric and half yard of plain crepe. So this is what the back looks like. If this is something you are interested in, make sure to keep watching and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. So I made use of 2 yards of this beautiful African print fabric, and I have half yard of a plain crepe fabric. I have my tape rule, my scissors, my ruler and my chalk. So we're going to cut out the front and the back panels together. I have my fabric folded into two for the front panel, and I have another fabric folded into two again for the back panel. So to get the wideness of fabric to fold, because this dress is a cut together sleeve, the first thing you're going to do is to measure your shoulder measurements divided by 2. Mine is 8 inches, and then the next thing to measure is the length of your sleeve. For mine, I want it to be 12 inches, but I'm going to mark 10 inches here and replace the remaining 2 inches with the plain crepe fabric. I hope you guys understand. So in total, the wideness of the fabric I'll be needing is 18 inches on fold. So when you open up, that will be 36 inches wide fabric for the front and for the back. To mark the full length of this dress, the first thing is to mark out a starting line at the upper part of the fabric. So the full length of my dress is 38 inches, but what I have here is 39.5. I'll be using the remaining 1.5 inches as the folding allowance at the base. So after that, I'll come over to the starting line, which is still the shoulder line, and from the folded angle of my fabric, I'll mark the neckline. So the wideness of the neckline is 3 inches, while the depth of the neckline is also 3 inches. Note that we're still going to modify this neckline later on. I'll connect the 2 points together and then come over to this 18 inches mark and come down by 1.5 inches. Then I'll take my ruler and connect it all the way to the neck width this way. After that, the next thing is to mark the armhole opening. So the armhole opening I'm working with is 9 inches, and then I'll add 1 extra inch for seam allowance, making 10 inches. So I'll extend this line in to create the bust line. So I want this bubble to have a bit of shape, so I'm going to come down now to mark my waistline. So from the shoulder line, I'll mark to my waistline, which is 16 inches, and also mark to my hip line, which is 24.5 inches, and extend the line. So note that you can decide to make yours a free bubble, or you can decide to make it just like mine. So I'll extend the lines this way. So this is the bust line, this is the waistline, and this is the hip line. So on this bust line, from the folded angle of my fabric, I'll mark my round bust measurements divided by 4, which is 10 inches. I'll add 2 inches for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance. And on the waistline, I'll mark the waist measurements divided by 4, add 2 inches for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance. So go ahead to place your own appropriate measurement. And on the hip line as well, I'll mark the hip measurements divided by 4, 2 inches for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance. So if you want this bubble to just be a straight bubble, you're just going to use this hip measurement on all the 3 lines. I hope you guys understand. So I'll connect all the points together this way, and then connect from the waist to the hip line. So whatever I have on this hip line is what I will use on the full length of my dress. So I have 14 inches on this hip line. I'm going to place it at the base of my dress and then extend the line all the way up this way. After doing that, before we cut it out, I'm going to curve out this armhole area so that it relaxes well when you are done sewing. I'll curve it out this way. So like I said earlier, if you want a straight boob, we're just going to maintain the 14 inches we have on the hip line on all the lines, so it goes down straight on your body. So before I cut out, I want to extend the neckline. I want the neckline to be 4 inches wide instead of the 3 inches I used initially. So 3 inches will still be fine. This is just my preference. So I made use of 4 inches for the width of the neckline, while I still maintain the 3 inches width that I have. So after that, I'll add half an inch to the shoulder area for the joining allowance and then proceed to cut it out. And then I'll cut it all the way down. So after that, I'll separate the front panel from the back. I'll set the back panel aside while we'll modify the neckline of the front. So notice as this bubble neckline is an asymmetric neckline, meaning that one side is going to fall to your arm, one side is going to fall down to the arm. So you're going to increase the neckline on one side to create that asymmetric design. But before we do that, I want to mark out the point where we'll be having the cold shoulder. So from the point where my neckline stopped, I'm going to extend the line. I'm going to draw a line there and extend it all the way down to the full length of this dress. So this is where the black plain fabric will sit, just like the design you are seeing on the thumbnail. Then I'll go ahead to extend it all the way down. So you can as well do this same process on the back panel because you're going to also have the same design on the back. So after that, this is what we have. So you can decide which part of the neckline you want your cold shoulder to be. For mine, I want it to be towards this towards the left side. So what I'm going to do now is to take out 3.5 inches on the neckline towards this side. So if you want yours to fall lower than that, you can do 4 inches, you can do 4.5, just depends on what you want. But for mine, I did 3.5 inches. And then I'll come to the midpoint of the neckline and come down by 1.5 inches. I'll come down by 1.5 inches from the midpoint. So from the other side of the neckline, which is the part that will sit on the shoulder, I'm going to take my chalk and just connect it all the way to meet the other side. Just go ahead to connect it this way all the way to meet the other neckline. So I'll be cutting out this part. But before I cut it out, I want to measure what I have from the shoulder all the way to where the neckline stopped. So I'll remove the half an inch for the joining allowance, the shoulder joining allowance, and measure up to the neckline. So you can see I have 4 inches. So that 4 inches is going to be the length of the fabric that will sit on the shoulder to create the cold shoulder effect. I hope you guys understand. So after cutting out, this is what we have. So that 4 inches is going to be replaced with the black fabric to sit on our shoulder to create that design on the dress. So I'm going to trace out the back neckline as well. So I'll place it right sides facing each other. Make sure to place it right sides facing each other so that the neckline can be on the same side. So I'll place it this way. So let me flip it to the other side so you guys can see. I'll trace out the new neckline and then just cut it out. So after cutting out, this is what we have. We have the same neckline for both the front and the back panels. So the next thing we want to do is to cut out the facing. So I'll be making use of the black crepe fabric as my facing. And the facing is going to be on the right side of the fabric. So fold the plain fabric into 2 equal parts this way. And also fold the other fabric, the Ankara fabric, into 2 equal parts on the neckline area. So place the neckline on your already folded fabric this way, making sure the closed angles are on the same side. And then go ahead to pin it down. After pinning, I'll go ahead to trace out the neckline, making sure I follow the same shape exactly. And then I'll mark out the width of my facing. So I want the wideness of my facing to be 2.5 inches, but I marked 3 inches here because I'll be using half an inch to join to the neckline. I'll mark the width also on this side and then proceed to remove my fabric. So I'll then take the 3 inches all the way around it to create a curve this way and then connect the point. So I'll also be folding the base of this fabric, so I'll add half an inch all the way around it this way before I cut it out. So notice that we are cutting for one side of for the front panel alone. So after cutting out, I'll use this now to cut out the back facing. So I'll place it again on my fabric this way. I'll pin it down to cut out the back facing. So after cutting out, this is what we have. So I'll go ahead now to place this on the neckline. So on the right side of my fabric, I'll place my facing on it this way. So go ahead to arrange the facing properly on the neckline this way and then pin it down. So you're going to repeat this exact process on the back panel. I'm only going to show you guys for the front. So after pinning, go ahead to stitch it using 1/2 inch all the way down. And when I'm done with that, I'll also fold the base. Just fold a very tiny bit of fabric at the base and stitch it all around it. I'll repeat exactly the same process on the back panel and I'll show you guys what it looks like. So after stitching the facing to the front, this is what it looks like. This is what we have on the neckline and this is the back panel. So right now I'll use my bias strip to turn the neckline over. So I'll place it on the right side this way, stitch it all the way down and then turn it over to the wrong side and stitch it down all the way to the other side. So I'll repeat the same process on the back. I'll pipe the neckline, stitch it down on the right side and then turn it over to the wrong. So when I'm done with that, I will show you guys. So after piping the neckline, this is what the wrong side looks like now, and this is the right. You can see that it looks neat both on the wrong and on the right side. So the next thing I'm going to do is to join the shoulder areas together. So I'm going to place them right sides facing each other and then use my 1/2 inch allowance to join the shoulders all the way down. I'll repeat the same thing for this other side and show you guys. After joining the shoulders, this is what we have. The next thing is to insert our design in front and the cold shoulder sleeve. So I'm going to measure from the neckline all the way down. So I have 34 inches and then I'll add the extra 4 inches that we removed initially for the cold shoulder to make 38 inches. So since this design is going to run from the front all the way to the back, we're going to multiply 38 inches by 2. So there will be 4 inches for this cold shoulder in front and 4 inches at the back, plus the 34 inches that runs to the full length for both the front and the back. So in total, the length of fabric I'll be needing for my design is 76 inches, but I'll be cutting 80 inches just to be on the safe side. I hope you guys understand. And then the wideness of the fabric is going to be 2 inches, but I'll cut out 3 inches and fold in 1/2 inch on both sides. So I've gone ahead to cut out my fabric. I had to join the fabric to get the exact length that I want. So like I said earlier, the wideness of the fabric is 2 inches, but I cut out 3 inches and I ironed in 1/2 inch on both sides. As you can see, I have ironed in 1/2 inch. So this is what we have. So I want to go ahead and recreate this line, this exact line on the front. I want to recreate it on the back as well. So at the base, I'll measure what I have from the line to the side and then just mark it on the back panel. I should have done this earlier like I explained in the video. So I'll mark that same point there and just roll it all the way up. So I noticed my line was not straight and I went ahead to correct it. So this is what we have. So I'll be starting from the front panel. I'll start from the base of the front panel. So I'll place my fabric on this line, making sure the line is at the center of the fabric. Make sure the lines are at the center of the fabric this way. Remember to fold in the edges with your iron before you do this. And then I'll go ahead to pin this fabric on that line. So the line is at the midpoint of my fabric. So this is me just trying to pin to the front panel alone. So when I get to this neckline point, I'm going to measure the 4 inches for the front and 4 inches for the back to make 8 inches, and then I'll continue to pin all the way down. So when you are done, this is how the cold shoulder will appear on the neckline of your dress. I hope you guys understand this explanation. So I'm going to measure what I have now. So you can see I have that exact 4 inches that I took out on the neckline. So this fabric is going to sit on the shoulder to create that cold shoulder design. So I'll go ahead to pin it all the way to the back now. As you can see, pin it down all the way to the back. So after pinning, I'll take this to my sewing machine now. I'll open it up this way and then starting from one side, I'll go ahead to stitch on that half an inch that I folded. I'll stitch it all the way. When I get to this point, I'll also stitch the half an inch closed. I'll stitch it down to my Ankara fabric all the way down. When I'm done with that, I'll stitch on the other side as well. Stitch it down this way all the way down. So when I'm done with that, I will show you guys. So after stitching down, this is what it looks like. You can see how beautiful this looks already. So the next thing I want to do is to work on the sleeve. So I'm going to be attaching the crepe fabric as well on the sleeve. So I have the fabric cut out already, and I'll go ahead to fold it into two this way. So when you open up, you have 5 inches, and when folded into two, it is 2.5 inches. So I'll place it on the right side of my fabric this way, and then use half an inch to join it together. So when you are done, it is going to appear this way on the sleeve. I'll just pin it down and also pin the other one for the other sleeve. I'll pin it down this way and go ahead to stitch it. So after stitching, this is what it looks like. Go ahead to also iron it so that it lays down flat, and this is for the other side. The next thing we want to do is to close up the sides of our dress. So at this point, you can decide to insert pockets on the sides if you want, but for mine, I did not add any pocket. So I'll match the two fabrics this way, right sides facing each other, and then use my 1-inch seam allowance to close it up from the sleeve all the way down to the full length. I'll repeat the same process for the other side, close it up all the way down. So after closing the sides, I'll also fold the base of my dress. I'll fold it in twice and stitch it all around. So guys, after I was done closing up the sides, this is what it looks like. You can see how beautiful this dress looks. So at the end of the day, we have the same design on both the front and the back. So you can decide to have your cold shoulder either on the right side or on the left side, depends on you. So I'll flip it now to the wrong side and just notch this armhole area so that it relaxes very well on the right side. I'll do the same thing, cut the seam open this way, and then proceed to iron out your dress. So I hope you found this video useful, and I hope you have learned something new. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, share this video to your loved ones, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.